right, hello everyone. Those who are in the whether you're calling in from the webinar or from the Hopin stream, welcome everyone. Today I have a very special guest with me today, Professor Muhammad Yunus. Some of you, I was just talking with the professor earlier about having known his name since I was very young, and I'm sure this is a shared experience with many of you. So I'm really excited today. We'll start in just a couple of seconds. I want to make sure that everyone gets on the platform and just gets ready to listen and engage. Please keep in mind that feel free to ask questions. There should be a designated place for Q&A. We will spend about 10 minutes with the presentation that Professor Yunus will give, followed by 10 minutes of Q&A from me, and then finally we will select audience questions for the remainder of the conversation. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Professor Muhammad Yunus. I'm sure his qualifications speak for himself, but he's most famous as the founder of the Grameen Bank and winner of the Nobel Peace Prize, World Food Prize, among many other awards. I am Alexander. I will be your moderator today. I am an undergraduate student at Harvard. And let's begin. So, Professor Yunus, do you want to share your presentation right now?
Okay, sure, great.
Perfect.
Thank you. Delighted to be here with you and everybody. Just talking to you from Bangladesh. I was just talking to your moderator that I was in my house for the last 1.5 years. Didn't get a chance to get out. So this is the environment in which we are talking to each other. So it's a kind of situation that we cannot ignore the pandemic. So what does the pandemic mean to us? And that will be my initial point, that the pandemic has stopped the conventional way we have been living our life, traditional way we are living our life. Even our meetings now in a Zoom meeting rather than a physical meeting. And that's not what we used to do. And the entire economy is kind of in a halt position right now, that cannot function the proper way that it has. And in the beginning, we saw enormous number of people losing their livelihood and losing their jobs, losing their food on the table, and millions of them, even billions of them happened. So that's the kind of impact that this pandemic has made on the side of our life and so on. And also it's shown how fragile our attempts are in order to get people out of poverty. Because one pandemic suddenly comes and pushes everybody back into poverty and deeper into poverty. So it's not something sustainably we took people out of poverty. So our economic situation, our economic thinking has not done that kind of solid work that people can withstand the onrush of such a calamity that we have right now. And it's also showed several things I'll just briefly mention, because I'm sure you feel the same way. We have been talking about global village. We're so excited. I'm sure as you grew up, that's the kind of image you had in your mind. The whole world is getting smaller and smaller. Technology has brought us together to the extent that we became a global village. So now pandemic comes and crashes all those ideas completely. We are not a global village at all. When the test time comes, we see we are a real picture. We are all isolated islands. We don't want to share things with each other. We are parochial. We are tribal. When the pandemic came, everybody became busy with their own lives. Every country is trying to save their own people. Even today, it's continued. It does not change. So the idea of global village may be in our imagination, but in reality, we have not established it. So this is one thing that revealed very quickly. And then came the vaccine. Vaccine was something that revealed more ugly things in our life. I've been publicizing, making appeals to people and the government to make the vaccine as a common good. So that there is no patent right, there's no commercial ownership of vaccine. because it belongs to all people. It's not just one company or another. But what we got finally, vaccine, the patent right is holding on, and they are the one who can supply the vaccine. As a result, some countries got vaccines as much as they wanted, even more. In the vaccine hoarding became very common word.
Right, definitely.
It is now the third dose is talked about. This is saying that whatever vaccine is available, you want to give it a third. Maybe someday we'll talk about the fourth, but others are not getting the first. The entire continent of Africa doesn't have even the first percent, 1% of the vaccination of the population at all. And Bangladesh, all its efforts, has hardly got to the 4% of the population vaccinated because vaccines are not available. And you go country by country. The only handful of country has all the vaccines they want. Even they have hoarding, they have surplus vaccines. The rest of the world doesn't have it. Why is that? What is the problem? Vaccine saves people. This we understand. This is one way to tackle pandemic is to bring vaccines. But vaccine is a knowledge which we have. Wonderful thing that we have found the knowledge to protect people. But what we are doing, we are keeping that knowledge surrounded by wall, so that we don't have access to that knowledge. And that's the patent right. Why we are surrounding it? Because we want to maximize our profit.
Right.
So the wall of profit is depriving people from the knowledge which is available to us and save our life. This is knowledge, not for the knowledge, it's not knowledge to get a degree. It's simply survival of human beings, millions and billions of them. So this shows how our economic thinking is flawed completely. And that's what we created a massive problem. And the massive problem, I'll just give you 3 massive problems that we created in the pandemic lenses. We can see it very clearly now. One is the global warming. It just IPCC report just came out again, and saying we hardly have 20 years to get to the 1.5 degrees Celsius, meaning that we'll be entering the red zone of our existence. And we are almost at the level where human being became endangered species, or on the way to become endangered species, because it doesn't have much time left. So urgency of it completely lost, and we are still merrily going around and so on. I keep repeating to people, look, we are living in a house which is burning. The entire world is burning. And that's what the global warming is all about. And there's a cyclone warning just coming to New York. This is just now. And all around the world. And the heat waves and all the things going around and the fires going around. It's getting worse and worse every day. It continues to happen. And many countries will be sliding down into the village because into the ocean, because the global warming having the ocean water rising. And this, particularly island countries, and also a country like Bangladesh, will just disappear. So this is this urgency which is missing. So we are living in a burning house. The point I wanted to make, that's it. Inside the burning house, we are having a celebration. We are having party of a great economic success, great growth rates, great technological celebrations and so on, successes and so on. We forgot that we are inside the house, which is burning itself. So this is the attention I wanted to draw, that the young people has to become aware their life is very limited, because our life is almost gone. So their life is the one coming up. So you have to protect this house by stopping that burning of the house. So we have to get out of the party and first stop the burning, and then see how we can recreate the situation so that we don't burn the house again. So this is the task. And the second one is the extreme concentration of wealth. All the wealth is concentrated in fewer and fewer hands. Today, while everybody's losing money, losing income, losing jobs, and so on, there's a very handful of people in the planet having trillions of dollars of wealth accumulated right in the same period of 1.5 years of pandemic period. And all the wealth of the world is in the hands of absolutely a handful of people. 99% of the wealth is in the hand of 1% of the population, where 99% of the population has only 1% of the wealth. So if you look at the wealth map, you'll see all the people are in the bottom end of the map. Bottom side of the map, because 99% who are having only 1% of the wealth. So if you look at the wealth map, they are the bottommost. And where is the wealth? The rest is way up in the sky, maybe in the outer space, so far away from us, with a handful of people up there. They control the 99% of the wealth. And they're continually accumulating more and more wealth, meaning the wealth is rushing away from people. I said, what kind of economic system we have where people is left out, wealth goes out to somebody else. And this distance becomes bigger and bigger. The segregation between human beings and wealth, that cannot be something that will be acceptable. This is a ticking time bomb. It will explode, even if pandemic can spare us, but this will not spare us. It will destroy us completely. Global warming will destroy us. Wealth concentration will destroy us. And unemployment created by artificial intelligence, which is coming in a big way, which will replace human being in activities and so on. So I see there's a triple threats for us to get us extinct and so on. We are in a suicidal path. So I was saying that the pandemic has given a chance. It has stopped that machine. So I said, this is a good opportunity provided by the pandemic, and our decision should be no going back. We don't want to go back to this suicidal path. We create a new path to go to a new destination. And I defined this new destination as a destination which will have 3 zeros: zero net carbon emission, and zero wealth concentration to end poverty once for all, and zero unemployment by unleashing the entrepreneurship in all human beings. Because human beings are born as entrepreneurs. Economic thoughts pushed us into a situation where we have to look for job. Job is a new form of slavery. I give away everything in service of somebody else who pays me, who keeps me alive. That's all. I said, that's not what the human beings are all about. Human beings is packed with unlimited creative capacity. Each one of us, whether you are extremely poor, you are extremely rich, we have all the same creative power that human beings bring with him, with her in this planet. But because education and economic system told us, no, you have to go and work for somebody else. So it's a job-oriented economy so that the people can make money. Few people, lucky people can make money. And that system is built to serve the few people. So I said that system has to completely reverse. So the wealth should come back to people, and the gap between the wealth and people will bring closer and closer. It will be gap will be narrowed down, and ultimately people and wealth should live together, not separately. Today it is separate. So this is the mechanism we have to build. So almost we have to say we have to build the system, putting the present system in a back gear. This system is widening it. We put it in a back gear, it will bring it back. So this is the challenge that we have, and pandemic gives us the opportunity, and our decision is no going back. We want to create our new world of 3 zeros. That's a issue that I wanted to raise with you, and I will stop here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Professor Yunus, for that just incredible summary of really, the connection between the 3 major issues that you said are facing us as a global society, as a global human race, and how the pandemic relates to that, and just how current events really affect that. On that note, I just wanted to ask. This will be really useful for the audience who might have this question. So I'll save those who wanted to ask it from doing so, which is, many of our audience members are students, right? And they are, entering, they're thinking about careers or they're entering one. What would your advice be to people to help, make a change, right? To help bring about these 3 zeros, to help bring about, solutions to these issues. What type of advice would you give? Maybe things to read or to do on a daily basis, even small things to really contribute to this.
Yeah. Small things are the one which will really contribute, because we can't start with the big things, because all big things are in the wrong direction.
Right.
So we have to go in the piece by piece, starting the small things. And that's why I'm encouraging the creation of what we call 3 zero clubs. We encourage young people between the age of 12 to 35, 5 young people getting together, just 5 getting together, form a club of 3 zero club. And the idea of 3 zero club, that you become aware of all the 3 problems and what you can do as a person, not as an academic, not as something, as a human being on this planet, what you can do to achieve something in reducing these mega problems and bring it closer to zero. As a person, you can have a symbolic thing to do to begin with, like a planted tree. That's an environment. Yes, I have done that. Or I will eat less beef because beef contributes to global warming. So I will not do that. Those kind of small steps so that you become aware. And what are the factors which is contributing to the global warming? Find it out, 1, 2, 3, like fossil fuel is contributing the mega way in so this is our enemy. Fossil fuel is our enemy, so we'll stop the fossil fuel. Even if you have to suffer, we have to walk. We will not ride a fossil fuel driven vehicle because I have to save myself and my next generation who will be here. So we say, okay, we'll do it someday. Maybe in 2050 we'll do it. 2050 we don't know whether we'll exist here or not, because already 2040 has been told that it's 1.5 degrees Celsius and beginning of red zone. We don't want to get to the red zone. Red zone means if you work harder and harder, still will not achieve much because your achievement will become less and less.
No
This is
return.
the opportunity, no return. We have point of no return. So this is the time to use every single thing. So why don't we ban all the fossil fuel thing? Because fossil fuel itself contributes 86% of the global warming. So why don't we just take one of this and say, I'm not riding any car which is using fossil fuel. I will go walking, I'll do something else, bicycling, whatever I'm going to do, something drastic. So as I said, as a young person, you have to make up your mind. That's what the 3-0 Club will be addressing, and how to make it another zero, wealth concentration. I will not contribute to wealth concentration. I will not do anything which will facilitate wealth concentration. One, I can see that I will not serve any corporate which is responsible for wealth concentration. All the corporates are responsible for all, not just one. So I will not go for work. What do? I'll become entrepreneur. I'll pick my own wealth. I will not collect wealth and hand it over to somebody else because he pays me. I will not going to be somebody who will be a mercenary for somebody else. Today, job means being mercenary for other people to destroy this world. So I will not going to be mercenary. So let them think about it and see what other things they can come up, how to make sure unemployment can be disappearing because I become entrepreneur. I don't care for a job and so on and so forth. So this is the kind of attempt each individual can do. And if you agree, if somebody agrees, can form their own 3-0 Club, and we get networking with each other. What we do, we facilitate each other to network with each other and talk to each other. We don't go and tell them what to do. So this is one way we are trying to see how young people can figure out what is next.
Got it. Yes, and for those in the audience who are really interested in this, I highly encourage you to network. HPAIR offers absolutely fast, thorough platforms for networking. Please, find time to form these clubs yourself or talk about it. I'm sure Professor Yunus would be glad for this to happen because, as again, the majority of our audience is
you can
there.
Google it 3-0 Club, so you get all the information. So see,
Perfect.
Google 3-0 Club. That's all.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I want to move on now, not too much, but this is a question that I think many people have because they are really inspired by your own story of how you really came into the field of, microlending and founding the Grameen Bank. They are really, enjoy hearing about your story and kind of, using that as inspiration for what they want to do to, change the world in their lifetimes. So maybe, I just wanted to ask you, how did you come up with the idea of financing in the first place? And just what were some major hurdles that you had to overcome in really what you have become well known for doing, which is founding this bank that has really changed the lives of millions of people.
I had no idea that I'll ever do any lending. I'll be involved with banking or create a bank myself. That's the remotest thing ever in my mind. As a young person like you, thinking about what I will be, only thought at that time I had that I'll be a teacher. I'd like to be with young people. I'd love to teach classes. So I will be a teacher and see how to discover ways of doing things which will benefit people. But when I became a teacher in Bangladesh, I started teaching, and I saw extreme poverty and famine in the country. That gave me the shock, And the first thing, to make it simple, first thing that came, I disowned everything I have learned. I blame that they made me totally useless person. Here is a big crisis going on in the country. People are hungry. People are dying on the street. The dead bodies I see on the street because the people couldn't eat. So I said, what kind of education I got all these years? So that economics gave me, doesn't give me the capacity to help this dying person. So first is to disown. I disowned everything. Then gradually I thought, why don't I be a simple human being and see, as a person, I can be of some use to somebody. So I was trying to discover my usefulness relating to another human being. So I started going to the village next door to the campus to see the people, real people, and see how I can be of some help in some way, even for a day, even for one person. So I will not talk about a big mega project. I have the solution. I didn't have any solution, only to learn from them and see if I can make myself available to them to be helpful for them. So this is what I was doing, and it went on for weeks and months and years. And then I saw many things inside the village which started drawing my attention. And one was the thing is a loan sharking, and people lend money to another person and grab everything the other person has. And it's a terrible thing goes on, and it's a traditional thing, and you can't do anything. And I said, oh, can I protect all these people? Not all of them, at least one or two people who are victims of loan shark. So that was the first question. How do I protect at least one or two people from loan shark? Idea that came to my mind, why don't they lend the money to the person? Then he or she doesn't have to go to the loan shark. That way, the problem of victimization will stop for that person. So I thought that's a simple idea. And the money involved was so small, $2, $5, $10. That's about the size of the loan they were looking for. Right. So I started giving money from my own pocket. So I was not thinking about a bank or something to protect one individual. But it became very popular over weeks, over months. Right. And many people started coming. I was delighted to help them, to give the money. And the only condition is you return the money whenever you can. And they were actually returning the money. So then I got into battle with the banking system. I said, why don't you do that? He said, that's not banking. I said, what is a banking? Oh, no, banking is something very different. I said, then what is the reason that you don't lend the money to these poor people? They said they are not creditworthy. Then I said, what is this creditworthy thing? They're explaining they're not creditworthy. Then after a while, I realized that's not the explanation they were given. That's not the right explanation. Who are they to tell people are not creditworthy? I said, it is the people who should tell you that you're not people worthy. You become people worthy so that you redesign your system so that it can be helped. So I started doing things which started working, and it's so popular now. I thought in order to continue this, I should create a tiny little bank for the village and call it a village bank. And Grameen Bank means village bank. So I created a village bank. And it became popular to the next village and next village. Over time, we became a nationwide bank. And that's how the idea of microcredit was born. And the difference between conventional banks and microcredit is, or Grameen Bank is, it's just a reverse of the conventional bank. It's not just giving tiny loan. Conventional bank go to the rich, we go to the poor. Conventional bank go to men, we go to women. Conventional bank go to cities, we go to rural areas. Conventional banks ask for collateral, we say no collateral. Conventional banks want to make sure that people come to their offices, in their branches. We said people should not go to the bank should go to the people. So everything is in reverse. And then they said, okay, it may work in Bangladesh, but it will not work anywhere else. It's a funny thing, but it's caught up. Now we work in the United States. We have 25 branches. One of them is just close. One of them is just close in the neighborhood of Harvard University. You may drop in and see. It's called Grameen America. And we lend money to poor people. So we have all women, 140,000 women in the United States through Grameen Bank. Grameen America, we provide the lending to the poor people. We are in 25 cities we work, including Boston, as I mentioned. And we are working for 12 years now. We have given over $2 billion worth of loans to these people. And first loan will be under $1,000, and gradually loan size grows as you pay back one after another. You can increase your loan size and so on. And the repayment rate is absolutely close to 100%. It's over 99.5% and above
Wow.
over
Yeah.
the 12 years of our result. No collateral, no guarantee, no, even they don't have any documents because most of them are immigrants, just trying to make a life and so on. So these are the examples of microcredit, how it grew, how it spread and so on.
I see. That is really fascinating. I think the story is, often just summarized as, this bank, this just popped up. I personally, did not actually link together Grameen, meaning a village. That is really, I think, inspirational for our audience. I want to, because we have only a few minutes left, I want to combine several questions from the audience, and they're all about, resistance from large institutions, whether it being banks or companies or governments. We have questions about how do you deal with kind of resistance to the Three Zeros pledge, or resistance when you were building the small village banks. What do you think is the best approach to people who say, hey, this is not realistic. Hey, this is not right. Hey, this is not this is not the way that it is done. How do you talk to them, and how do you try to kind of make your voice heard when you have these large banks or large government agencies who are kind of telling you that what you're doing is not right or correct or practical?
Yes, when you do something new, you always have resistance. So resistance is a part of the game. It's nothing that to be afraid of. Rather, you should be happy that you are feeling getting resistance against you, meaning that you are doing you are in the right direction, because you're in the opposite direction. That's why you're having resistance. Resistance comes from all around, not just the big companies or something. Even the husband of the woman that we are lending money to. Both of them are poor. It's a poor family, but husband is against lending the money to the wife. Right. He's always arguing, she's nobody, she doesn't know anything, give it to me. Why should you give it to her? That she'll be failing and then you're blaming me for that. See, the resistance coming from men. So the men became the first line of resistance for us. Then came the religion, because we are giving money to women. Religion says, no, you should not do that. Women should stay home and so on. So we had religious opposition. We had the political opposition. Political opposition coming, left saying that this is not the solution. You need a socialist revolution in the country. That's the solution. You are bringing capitalism at the very base of the people. You're destroying the future of the revolution. So that's their explanation. Right was extremely against us. They thought we are organizing the poor people to have a revolution in the country. So, right. So let's say everybody has their own theories how to do that. Right. We had very, very tough kind of time, even under threat of life and so on, because the extreme leftist groups found that we are agents of capitalism. We are trying to bring capitalism in the country and so on. And then, of course, the theoreticians, the academics were extremely against it. That this is you are selling things which is just make-believe stories. This is not real. This cannot happen exactly the way you explained to the audience. And then banks said, oh, this is not banking. Banking has to be big. Banking has to be, we have to. Then we started growing. I said, look, we are doing the banking too. We are a bank. No, you are depending on donations. That's why you work. I said, no, we don't have any donations. We, just like any other bank, we take deposits and we use the deposit money to go to the poor. What the bank's doing, you collect the deposit from the poor people and give it to the rich people. I said, we are collecting the deposit from poor and the rich and give it to the poor people. That's the only difference we are making. And we made it a social business, meaning that we don't want to make profit for ourselves. We want to solve the problem in a business way so that it doesn't have to depend on any kind of donations or subsidies or anything else. So one way to face the opposition or resistance is to demonstrate. This one. A 1,000-page book cannot explain anything, but one tiny example tells all the stories. You can see it in all directions, turn it around, see what it is, and people say, this really is good. People then started thinking, maybe what he's saying has some meaning to it. So we created the microcredit on the ground. The bigger it became, more and more people are convinced. People come with extreme bad, negative feeling about us and spend few days with us and go back with a convinced person, because they have asked the people, they have seen the transactions and so on. There's nothing wrong. They're taking money, they're starting a business. I said, I have converted all these 9 million borrowers of Grameen Bank into entrepreneurs. Nobody thought that women, poor women can be entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs have always thought about some smart guy with a big degree or something, doing some big business. There's the entrepreneur. I said, no, every human being is an entrepreneur. But your theory is wrong, selling that they have to go and work. The only thing they have is their body, so they have to go and work for this. No, they don't have the body alone. They have body, yes, but they have a brain. You forget that. Their brain is more powerful than anybody else can imagine. So why don't you address the brain rather than the body? So make that sure. So this is the kind of thing. So those are the examples which created, finally convinced people that yes, it is important.
Well, that is really great to hear, and just I think really just inspiring again for the audience. I know we're running out of time here, so I just wanted to ask you, Professor, if you have any final words to tell to say to the audience. I know we've touched on this before, but just if you had any final thing to say.
Yeah, the final thing is this urgency. The pandemic has given us chance. So take this opportunity so that we don't have to go back to the same education, same learning, same path. And I keep repeating to everybody that if you follow the same path, the way we are taught in classrooms, we get the old knowledge passed on to the new generation, and they repeat the same thing, repeat it to the next generation. So we are always following the same path. I said that is a suicidal path. You saw, I gave you the 3 examples why it's a suicidal path. So in order to get away from it, you have to build new path, to build new destination, new world. So I create that the description of the new world. I said this will be a world of 3 zeros: 0 net carbon emission, 0 wealth concentration, and 0 unemployment, by unleashing the power of entrepreneurship in all human beings. So these are the 3 zeros. So I said, why don't you join that? Why, all the young, because young people have to do that. Old people, their minds are contaminated. They're all the ideas that they're following, all the institutions they created based on a wrong basis. Like one fundamental mistake, gross mistake of economic thinking is they misinterpreted human being. They interpreted human being as someone who is driven by self-interest. And everything is developed on the basis of a human being who is driven by self-interest, selfish person. Human beings are all selfish. I said, absolutely, that's absolutely wrong. Human beings are at least have 2 kinds of features in them. They are selfish, part of it, yes, but they are also selfless. They are driven by self-interest. They're also driven by collective interest. You forgot the collective interest part completely in economics. Took it away. I said, why don't you build economics based on self-interest and collective interest, and let people choose which one they want to do? They will do both, part of self-interest and part of collective interest. I want to save the world. That's not my interest singularly. It's a collective interest. So I design a business to do that, to address that. And we call that social business. In personal interest-driven business is you maximize profit, because it's personal. You have to accumulate, and become greedy on that. But the social, what is driven by collective interest, you're not interested in personally benefiting from it. You are interested in solving a bigger problem for the whole, everybody, you are a part of that. So as a part of that, you benefit from that, but you are not the intention of yourself. It is the global or the collective problem that you see. So that's why we created a new concept called social business, a business to solve problem rather than make a penny out of it. So in social business, we don't take profit. If you want to take profit, you do the personal business, personal interest-driven business. So these are the things we have to change, redesign, and you have to create institutions like banks. Like Grameen Bank is a social business bank. We are not interested in making money for us. We wanted to solve the problem by creating entrepreneurs galore, everybody. Even young boys, young girls become entrepreneurs by taking money from the bank and so on. I said, why don't we create social business banking system? You have your money-making banks, you tons and tons of money you can make by your banks. But at the same time, we can also bring a banking system to serve the people, to solve the problem, because you have the power of resources, you have the money. And finance is the oxygen of entrepreneurship. If you bring finance, suddenly you become entrepreneur.
Right.
The moment you can touch it. So that all the people, half the people in the world is untouched by financial resources because banks will not touch you. They will not go anywhere near you. Whether you're in the richest country in the world, whether you're in the poor country in the world, story is the same. So I said, why didn't you bring the finance so that they become entrepreneurs by themselves? And that's what all these women in Grameen America is doing. And all those things, all the microcredit around the world is doing, they become entrepreneurs. And the moment, the bigger the social business banking system will become, the more people will come out of the poverty and they will fight the problem of global warming because this is their planet. They want to make sure
Right.
their children are safe on this planet. So this is the direction that we have to undo the things and do something else. Get away from the old roads to avoid the suicidal path and build new roads to go to the new destination. Old road will never take you to new destination. That's a lesson that you have to repeat again and again. Old roads will never take you to new destination. If you go to the new destination, you have to build new roads. You have no other option.
Got it. That last remark, especially, but just your entire final remarks, I think really hit home for many. I'm sure honest members who are studying business or economics. I think that whole need for an attitude change, complete change on how we view economics, right? View the human being is definitely something that what we call a paradigm shift in this. With that, thank you again, Professor Yunus, for your time. Again, for all those who are interested in joining 3-0 clubs or forming your own, I'm sure the professor would be more than happy for you to do so, and we can provide HPAIR will provide more information about, of course, helping you guys organize. Thank you again, Professor, and have a great rest of your day. We will stop streaming now.
Thank you.